I I don't know if I have access to my, I'm on my phone, so I don't think I have access to my PowerPoint on my phone. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Huda, there you are. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, though.
Can you hear me now? I'm trying to fix everything because usually
It's okay. We're
we are
having some
on.
issues with the link.
We're doing this.
We're doing it. Yes, I'm doing it from my phone. I've never done it from my phone, so this is a brand new experience for
And
me.
that's what happened. You texted me and I had to email it to myself and then the whole setting. Well, hello.
Well, hello. Yes. You know what? Maybe I'll ask you to email it to me if you
I can
emailed it to yourself.
let me see how I do that now. I've been having issues with the internet all day. It does
Yeah,
not make sense. And it's one of those days.
it is one of those days. It's like a
Um,
calamity or whatever they call that. But welcome,
yeah.
everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Just
Thank you.
give us, hi, Lori. Hi, Cheryl. Nice to see
Hi.
you.
Hi. Good to see you.
Yes. Hi, Linda. Hi, Eric. Oh, Erica comes in and gets kicked out.
Yeah,
Still
she said she keeps getting kicked
kicked
out.
out. Yeah. Okay. Well, and I think Lisa also is trying to join us, but as we are, oh, Linda says hi. Welcome. So while we're doing that and then, getting settled here, I am excited that Huda is our guest speaker for the evening. Yay.
I'm excited to be here. I'm trying to email it to you. I need to send it from one email to another, so it's kind of like
More
another.
complicated than it needs to be.
I wish it was much easier than this.
It would be nice if things were just,
Yeah, I'm giving up.
uh, that's fine. I will, yeah, okay.
I have three emails and I'm trying to knock one because I don't know how to send it from that to this now. Gee.
Oh, there's the, okay, it's in the group chat.
Oh,
I am not, yeah, but I'm not used to doing anything from my phone when it comes to Zoom. I'm so nervous that if I try to access it, I'm
you
going
know
to
what?
disconnect
I can
myself.
do this. If they give it to me here, I can send it through my computer. Now because I don't know how to work with a phone.
Neither do I.
I don't, there are some people who run all their business on their phone. God
Yes,
bless.
that
How do they?
amazes me.
Yes, and I just sent you a subjectless link. Okay.
Once I get it, I will access it. But while we're waiting on that, welcome. Thank you for joining us today, despite all the chaos. I mean, not, but the inconvenience of, links and technology sometimes that happens.
It worked out.
Yes, it did. So, while we're waiting for me to pull up a little information about you, I just want to have you introduce yourself and, kind of talk about who you are and what you do, and then we'll kind of jump into the fun stuff.
Awesome. So my name is Huda. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. And what I do, I'm a life coach and a hypnotist. I've been doing this for a couple of years. And what it means is helping people rewrite their stories and change old stories, limiting stories that we've been telling ourselves subconsciously, and flip it and change the stories to things that work for us. And that's what I do in a nutshell.
That is awesome. Okay, I'm gonna just switch
Yeah, I
my,
can see you connecting.
yes, I'm gonna switch. I will be right back. All right. Okay. Ooh. What? All right. Okay. Apparently, I'm on two, still different. Oh, God, I love technology.
Now, hopefully that works.
I
Okay,
can hear you.
excellent, excellent, excellent. So I'm going to share my screen and pull up what I have here. Yeah, and so tell us a little bit about, I don't know if a lot of people know what hypnotism is.
Okay. So, in a nutshell, hypnosis is a very natural phenomena that we live and experience throughout the day. And what that means, imagine yourself watching a movie and you are really absorbed in the story that you become part of the story sometimes. And you come back and you realize you're in the living room. So you are in a state of hypnosis while you're watching or while you're reading a book and so captivated by the characters and shedding a tear or giving a smile. You're so focused. You are in a state of hypnosis. And I'm guilty of that. I'm always driving from point A to point B. I have no idea how that happened, how many traffic lights I passed. I'm totally hypnotized by an idea in my mind and focused on it so strongly that everything else is moving on its own. So that's what hypnosis is. Hypnosis is focusing on an idea so intently that makes the rest of the world disappears. And what's so special about this is that it, in that state of a brain state, a state of consciousness, our chittery, chattery mind that is always analyzing and judging and working on all of this kind of takes a step to the side, and the subconscious, where all the program is, surfaces. And there's a level of awareness in that space that we can do change. So usually when we are in that state of hypnosis, we're open for suggestions. That's scientifically proven. And so what we do in my sessions, we help the person go intentionally into that state and do some work on the subconscious, whatever the person needs.
That sounds scary to me.
Right. I love that you said this because that sounds scary.
Seriously.
So let me tell you a back end, because to bring it to awareness, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Means there's nothing I can do, say, or suggest that bypasses the values and the standards and the beliefs of the person.
Oh,
And if
interesting.
it doesn't matches your what works for you, what you believe in, it doesn't work. And that's why a big portion of the success of the session is that the person is ready. They want to do the change. And they tell you what they want to change, and you are just guiding them and showing them how to do it. There's no mind control at any point. The client closes their eyes, because when you close your eyes, you get rid of so much of the distraction and you're able to focus inwards. But at any point they want to open their eyes, they're going to open their eyes. And I had many people who were skeptical, and I've been a skeptic, and that's how I went into the session. My whole career started because I went into a session and I became a believer.
Mm.
But I was a very big skeptic. So I had a client who walked in and was like, I don't know, it worked for my cousin, probably it's going to work for me. She just saw the shifts in the cousin. Showed up, very skeptical. We finished the first session. I don't know if anything happened. I know I see shifts. I know things changed, but sometimes it's hard to say because I don't want to believe that things are shifting. Comes in the second session. Once you go through it once, you realize how beautiful it is, and you get to relax and go into places. And really, I can do that in my mind, and I'm in control, and there's nothing from the outside that can affect me. I can suggest one thing and they will do another. I'm like a GPS. You're not married to your GPS. You can go whatever you want. And so she was in New York. I'm in Chicago. Halfway through the session, and she's talking and communicating with me. Opens her eyes, looks at me. She said, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I don't want to be doing this.
Oh,
What are we
wow.
doing? I said, we're doing some work and releasing, and you're doing good work, but it's up to you. We can stop here or we can continue. So she looks at the screen. She says, if you're okay, I'm okay. And it goes back into a state and continues with all the work. And we
Wow.
finished the session. The reason I mentioned this specific client, because she's the one who inspired me to buy my Aura ring.
Okay.
The next day she texts me and she says, I don't know if you know about this Aura ring. This is a ring that measures the variation in your heart rate, tells you when you go to sleep, how deep you're sleeping. So it tells you you're ready for the day. You've been sitting in your bed for 2 hours before you fell asleep. So it gives you a good metric every day, how good you are and
Oh,
how
yeah.
ready you are for the day. Go active, haven't been active, didn't do some activities and so on. And she says, I've been wearing it religiously for 2 years, and this is the first time that my ring records that I was napping throughout the session that I was with you. And she sends me a screenshot
Oh, wow.
showing that she's going into sleep, light sleep, deep sleep. Then her mind picks up and says, I don't want to be doing this. Goes back into light again, jumps back into awake, talks to me and says, I don't want to be here. I said, it's up to you. We can stop. Then she says, okay, I'll go back. She goes back again into light sleep until the end of the session. And then she wakes up again. 55 minutes. And she became
Wow.
a believer.
And that's great that she had that metric to kind of
Right.
prove it for
Right.
herself, you know, that,
Right.
I mean, for 2 years she has this thing, and then all of a sudden, I mean, how wonderful is that she has this, you know, thing that she's been using for the past 2 years to give her proof in another way that it's worked for her during this time.
Right.
That's
And
amazing.
the hypnosis does help with things that show a quick shift, like quit smoking. Hypnosis is very good for it if
I
the
have
person is
heard that.
ready.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so this is like a clear shift that, hey, it works. And for her, it was the ring. And I got the ring, and so many of my clients like, hey, do you want to try it? And if we're doing an in-person, they will wear it. And then when we're done, I say, good morning, you had a good nap, when we were talking throughout the hour or hour and a half session.
Oh, wow.
I know. So
That's interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that now. Now you got me
yes.
curious about that. I'm interested to know, you know, because I've done some hypnosis training, like in my training experience. And, you know, one of the things that always came up was that, you know, there are like certain, I don't remember how they worded it, but it was like some people are just not hypnotizable. And I'm curious to know, you know, your thoughts or your experience about that, what you've seen, you know, because you mentioned that, you know, it's not going to work on somebody or go contra to their beliefs, their values, that kind of a thing, right? But if that's what they're changing, what they're believing, how does that work?
So definitely they have to be ready and wanting it.
Okay, all right.
And I worked with, and I can count them, 3 specific individuals who said, I want to try. And
Okay.
those were the 3 persons. 2 of them were friends, which I no longer, if anyone says, I want to try, I say, no, thank you.
Oh, really?
Because unless they want it, it always works. So these are the 3 people that it didn't work on because it wasn't really. And it's not about being skeptical that if it's going to work, that's fine. That's absolutely okay. I love actually those clients because they transform and change and they become believers the minute they begin the relaxation process. But how do they change what they want? Usually people show up, they want to quit smoking. They show up, they don't want to feel that anxiety all the time. And so they already have it and they want to do it. And once they quiet the mind and look inwards, and find that power, it's all within. It's all within. And my job is to help people find their power. It's a couple of sessions. I don't take people on a long term. It's really few sessions. Find that power. It doesn't mean life becomes easier. It just becomes there's an observer now that's able to see it and then would do different shifts. It does not replace therapy. Definitely it does not. It just shows something and is very help and comes in hand with therapy. I believe it helped me with my therapy. I know it helped clients with their therapy, and it's
Mm.
not a replacement. But there's something that helps and switches for some people that could be very helpful.
Yeah, okay. So that's a really great distinction that you make there, that it's not therapy. Can you kind of talk a little bit more about that? Because, I know people, especially in this day and age, always looking for that instant kind of
Right,
fix kind of a thing.
right.
So, right?
And I'm gonna say, it could be transformational
Right.
if the
Of
person is
course.
ready, have done a
Yeah.
lot of work. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
people that show up and they've done so much therapy, but there's some click that is needed, whatever
Mm-hmm.
that is.
Yeah.
And I remember, and because it's with one of the quit smoking sessions that I had, it's really an easy fix. But for that specific person, it was more of, I don't want anyone to take the power over me. So it was more of finding your power back. So you take that decision for yourself. So we
Mm-hmm.
didn't really work on the quit smoking that I would do it in a normal situation. It was give the power back. It was a 3-4 session package. By the third session, we didn't talk about quit smoking the first 2 times
Oh, wow.
because it was very clear it's not going to work with that person. By the third session, they showed up, already quit.
Oh, no kidding. Just on their own. It just kind of organically happened.
Because if they want it, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And we kind of target the things that are stopping them from doing it,
Yeah, those
and then it
blocks.
happens. And there's a couple of questions that you ask kind of triggers an answer already. The answers are all within.
Yeah.
I'm the GPS. That's what I always say. And I'm a GPS that you just wanted to show you the way inwards. And that's how we do it.
Yeah, that's a great metaphor for that too, just kind of using it as a guide, to get you where you want to go, because sometimes you don't have the direction, like you're not sure what you're missing, so to speak, and you need that as a guide, or you need someone to kind of help you facilitate that, so to speak.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Therapy is a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
And walks through things, and that's your field more than you can speak for it more than I do. But therapists do refer people to me. It makes life
Yeah.
different into their sessions. Like it makes things. It's a beautiful relationship that I really love.
Yeah, I can see that. I definitely can see how it can help give that nudge that
Yeah.
somebody may need, that where they're stuck somewhere.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, maybe let's try this to see what's blocking that. And, because sometimes, talk therapy, I think it can only do so much. And I know for myself, as a counselor, I don't only resort to talk therapy. I do use a lot of other approaches. And part of that is recognizing that, talking on a cognitive level doesn't always access the change that people need, or, and that's what you're talking about. It's at a very subconscious level. And it's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a different mode of information, basically, and people don't recognize that per se.
I agree. Yes.
Oh, well, okay, well, that was like a Staples button then.
I
That
loved
was
it.
easy. So
100%.
I have another question for you. So one of the things when you and I initially talked, by the way, our initial conversation, it was awesome. And I still, when I think about it, I'm just like, I can't believe we talked for like an hour and a half and we were only going to talk for like 15 minutes. And it was like, what is an hour and a half? What's happening here? So I did want to kind of reference a little bit, because I mentioned to you that this particular podcast was really about helping people recognize that professionals, that we're human too. And all of us, as professionals, struggle with the experience of being human. And, we also navigate these kinds of different things. I've talked about my struggles on here. I've had other guests that have talked about, things that they've struggled with and how they've navigated themselves, and how they ended up in the field, helping others. And so I'm wondering if you can provide a little bit about that, about yourself.
Right. So I'm going to tell you what got me into hypnosis is really that I was a client but I was in a good place in my life when I went as a client. I've done, life has beaten me enough, and I was on an incline. And I showed up and I'm saying there's a heaviness and a weight on my chest that I can't explain. I think I'm in a good place. I just don't know what this is. And the reason why I went into hypnosis, because I had this urge to see a hypnotist since 10, 15 years ago for something that I wanted to remember, recall. I don't know if it works. And I looked and I couldn't find anyone, which is so funny because now they're everywhere for me. Like I really Googled and it didn't happen. And so when I found someone, it's like, okay, I want to give this a try. Forgot what I was going for, but it was, the urge is still there. And I go through the first session. I don't want to give my power, skeptic and all of it. Then I'm paying for a session. I might as well get something out of it. So I allow myself to relax a little bit. The minute I open my eyes, there's something shifting, like something happened.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what it is, but I felt something different and I realized that I am in control. So the next session I go with a list. I was like, I'm going to tap this. I don't want to be sad. When I remember this, I don't want to be sad. And I have a whole list and I go into hypnosis. That specific session was regression. So it takes you from where you are and the guide, the GPS tells you now use your subconscious, let your subconscious lead you to whenever you felt this the first time. And it took me when I was 6 years old. I don't think whether it's true or not, it really doesn't matter. But my mind presented a story for me where I felt rejected, abandoned, not loved, yada, yada. And we resolved things in that space. And then we continued to other places. Then it was time for me to visit my list. And I didn't have to even go over it.
Really still?
I bring it, so I was like, it dissolved. I go to the second part, it dissolved. And I went to the third one and it dissolved. And I did not have to stand on it. I'm walking into that session. It's like, I don't want to remember these painful moments. And without having to do anything, tapping into the first sensitizing event, the first time I felt that sensation, everything that was built on it, it's like a domino effect. In my mind, that was mind-blowing. I was like, where is this secret we don't know about? That was exactly what I said. And I just referred tons of people to that hypnotist. I think it was less than a year after that I'm certified, I'm going to do this. There's so many people who don't know about this. I just want every person to try one session and one good session. And for me, I've done my job because there is empowerment to realize I have all this in me. I just needed someone to show me. And it, again, I'm going to say it doesn't make life easier. You're still going to go through the trenches and all of it. But it is not as painful.
Yes.
Doesn't mean I don't cry. Of course I do. Do I not hurt? 100%. I have a daughter who always looks at me and says, yeah, I told you you're not there yet. She knows how to press on all the buttons. I love her to bits, but she knows how to do that. It's like, yeah, I told you you're not there yet. Like, and I have to get back into the zone. I'm not there yet. I'm human, and I will continue to be human. But I'm no longer beating myself being human. I can cry for hours over something because there's an emotion that needs to come out, and I deal with it. But I create a container of 2 hours, not 2 decades. I lived in complete depression for years and days and months, and now it doesn't take that long. And it feels freeing to be okay not to be okay. And reach out to feel better and having the tools to help you and look at the brighter side. So that's
what a great way. I really appreciate you sharing that because the way that you worded it, that's such a beautiful way to describe it, is that, you're not beating yourself up for being human, that you're having these experiences and they are common experiences, and recognizing that you also have the resources internally, that you accessed to be able to help you with that, and that it's okay to feel these things and be with them and yet also control them, at the same time, like manage, or like you said, contain them, so to speak.
And you know what, Serena, this is not me.
Okay.
Meaning I'm a person that I broke a plate in my sister's engagement party. Her daughter is in her 30s. And I promise you that plate stopped hurting me probably less than 10 years ago. every time I remember it, something goes like, oh,
Uh,
the owners passed, like that life moved on, and that incident, I still beat myself for. I was 9 or 10. But there's more to that event, and it kept on beating until, but that was me. I felt guilty because I wasn't an available mom. I felt guilty over everything. I felt it, lived it, cried over it. So I'm a person who's always looking at, oh, something wrong is going to happen. Oh,
yeah.
I did something wrong. So to really live free or to live with it and say it's okay
Yes.
is freeing. So that shift is really massive. It gives you space to breathe and think differently and do things differently and approach life differently. And then things start to change because you
Yes.
changed. Life did not.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's such a great way to phrase it. That, I mean, that's, an experience that I get because I mean, I can share that with you and, just being able to do things differently. And, it's like coming from a very authentic and integrated space, that it's not like a piece, it is a very integrate. It's not like, oh, I think this is what I'm supposed to say. It's more of like a very, no, this is what I feel, what I think, and what I know. It comes from such a different place now and that's the experience, that people have a right to also have, I mean, that's part of the human condition. And we
Yeah.
get so bogged down by, life sometimes and all
Yeah.
these things that are happening, especially now in the world that, are just pushing and suppressing things and, all this other stuff. And then it's like, how do we navigate that? And, what you're saying is that's the power, what you said about rewriting the story. I mean, I think that's really the key is that essentially that's what you're talking about is you're rewriting that, having like a different perspective or a different ending or a different something.
Yeah. And I'm glad you're mentioning the crazy world that we live in because you just need to open the TV and get
Oh,
your high blood pressure and I don't open the TV much. I kind of try to read between the lines and I focus on what I can focus on, but I'm still aware and knowledgeable and I need to be informed. But what is it triggering in me?
right.
It's
Mhm.
always what is it triggering in me?
Yeah,
Yes, it's not perfect and it's not good. What can I do? How can I show up to
right.
make this play? And I absolutely 100% believe if every person of us heals, this world heals. And
Mhm.
it's not about healing that person so the world becomes better. No, that
Right,
person is going to trigger me. I need to heal so I'm not triggered and I act in a
right.
different and my reaction is completely shifted so that I can do life in a different approach.
Yeah.
That by itself is I'm doing a great favor to the world. And if we all do that, I think the whole world will shift on its own because yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's a beautiful way of putting it too, because then you're not coming from a place of fear or insecurity, you're coming from a place of love and being unconditional and being whole. And that means abundance, right? Is that when there's enough, there's always room to give to other people, right? When there's this mindset of not enough or needing more. I mean, that's very addictive. I always think addiction when I hear needing more, and that's my expertise too. So it's like, oh, this reminds me of some of the dynamics of that. And it's like, oh, okay. And there's always that kind of that need, that there's not enough kind of a
Mhm.
thing. And so whenever there's that, okay, there's not enough, there's a fear and
Yeah.
an insecurity base with that. And I think that's part of the challenge. I love the way that you put that is that when I show up differently, how do I look at how this is activating me and what I need to do to show up differently and shift what I can do and how I can respond to this in a way that it's going to be in my control and empowering.
Right.
Yeah.
And it does make a difference.
Yeah.
Your coworkers will feel it, your family will feel it, your children will feel it. I
Mhm.
the minute I was on this journey and I started seeing things from a different perspective, I put my children together. I was like, listen, I did the best that I could, but I'm going to apologize now and say I'm sorry for all the damage that I might have created along the way, like every other parent, because we're all come with a package.
Right.
But I'm not going to carry the pain with me. I have an
Yeah.
open invitation. If you want me to pay for therapy, I'm willing. If you want to talk through things, I'm willing. But
Yeah.
I am apologizing today and I'm moving on.
Oh, wow, that's
And
amazing.
that was, and I, honest to God, that not just freed me,
Yeah.
we're gonna still be human, but
Yeah.
there was no longer the expectation, and they were given space to grow and shift and transform in ways I would have never imagined. Is
That's
it
amazing.
perfect?
Of course.
Jeez. I'm not trying to pretend that it's like butterflies and rainbows. I wake up days and I see things and I go like, oh, how do I hold my breath? But it's different, for sure
Yeah.
it is. There's a level of freedom to express and feel, and without the hovering mama.
Mm.
And they're older now, but I was still the hovering mama, and I said, no, it's good. I'm cutting anything that is even from the past, from the future. I'm done. You're free, I'm free, let's be happy. And it takes a while, and I
Yeah.
really need to mean it and own it. You said something beautiful, Serena. You said you are, when you heal, you kind of act from a space of love.
Mm.
And with the crazy world that we live, how can I love some people out there?
Mm.
Right? Well, Jesus says, love thy enemy, right? And it doesn't, I'm never able to translate it into something that is tangible. But then I was sitting with a monk, and one of the things that they do is that you kind of give yourself blessing. May I live in happiness and wisdom. And so you give yourself that prayer, may my life be happy and peaceful. And then you give it to your teachers and your immediate family and your friends and if you can pray for your enemy, that will be great. Otherwise, lump them in loving all humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat with it and I did the multiple steps and I got to the enemy. I was like, I'm gonna actually pray for the enemy
Yeah.
separately. That is so empowering.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's very freeing when you can do that.
It
And
is very freeing, and you
mm-hmm.
begin to see that the enemy is not the person, but their traumas that's leading them to do
Right.
what they're doing. And you begin to see everything in the world. Oh, what happened to you? In a
Mm-hmm.
compassionate way, not
Right.
in a judging way.
Right. Exactly.
And I wish you well. I hope you heal, because then the whole world heals. And if you're in a place of power, I really wish you heal, because you can affect lives. And
Right.
until then, I'm just gonna pray and
Keep
understand that
putting
it's
it out
coming
there.
from a
Yeah.
space of lack of knowing.
Yeah, I do like that loving kindness meditation that you're
Yes.
speaking of. I love that so much. And I have done that before too. And it was initially a challenge, like you said.
Mhm.
And yet after, practicing it too, it is something that, like with anything, it's that consistency, that you put effort into it. And at some point in time, with the consistency and the continued practice, it clicks, and it no longer is effortful. It becomes effortless. And then you have like what you're talking about. There's just this shift. It just
Right.
is like, oh, what's happening here, kind of a
There's
thing.
joy, and even in
Right.
the pain, there's joy, because you're looking at the world. It needs more healing, not hating. And
Right.
if I'm looking at it in hating, what is it triggering, and what do I need to work on? So I'm coming from a space of wishing healing, not subject uh, projecting hating.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you giving your time, and I apologize that we, had a little tech issue and, we went over a little bit. So I thank the people that, stayed on with us for,
Yes.
a little bit more time too. But I want to put up your contact information and your website. And I love Be the Stillness. I mean, that just, oof, I'm just like, Every time I hear that.
I actually, when I decided to choose the name, I said, what is it? And I wanted to name that people, even if they don't show up, because not everyone needs it, get
Right.
something. Be the
Yes.
stillness.
Just
And
yeah, I
it's
mean,
for all of us.
that's so, I mean, because even just reading that, you're like, oh, yeah, be the stillness. Okay.
And
I
it
got
doesn't mean be still and not moving as much as
Right.
it's still on the inside. I'm the clumsiest person always moving, but there's a piece of stillness within.
Right. We're not talking like that kind of stillness.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Serena. That was lovely.
Yes, I just wanted to open it up if anybody had any quick questions or comments. Is that Stephanie I see there?
Hi.
That is. Hi.
I just
didn't-
wanted to say thank you. I'm glad I was able to join.
Yes, me too. I didn't know if anybody had any comments or questions they wanted to ask or state really quick.
There's a question from Linda.
Okay. Linda. Oh, is it in the chat? I'm sorry. Let me take a look here.
Oh no, I'm not from Guatemala. I love Guatemala. It's I went there a couple of years ago. No, I'm from the Middle East. And I feel guilty that I don't speak Spanish. I always have to justify because everyone starts talking Spanish to me. I was like, I need to either learn the language or figure out a way.
That's so funny. Oh, wow. Okay.
I do have a question for Huda. Um, how do you cope with or deal with, I guess I should say, people who are resistant to hypnosis? And maybe what are the reasons, aside from not wanting to surrender the power to someone else? What are some of the reasons why people are resistant to hypnosis?
So usually it's really the fear, mainly the
Mhm.
fear. And once they realize they have the power, that goes away. But not everyone likes to relax.
Mm,
Some
Okay.
people really
True.
get and I don't know if it's something along the way and now their journey is on I can be on a treadmill for 2 hours and that's my meditation. And if I'm quiet, I will be seeing things I don't want to see. And it's not the time, maybe, or they're not ready for it. I can't think of anything really beyond. It's a beautiful state to be in, just to be in that quiet zone when someone is ready to sit with that inner space of stillness and listen to the things and the voices that come out. They're not always comfortable until they are. And sometimes people are on a journey where they're not feeling comfortable to face that. So that probably is also a cause of it.
And probably by the time that they come to see you, they're probably maybe a little more open to it, do you think? Or is that not right?
So usually the people that come to see me, they are ready for change, even if they
Mhm.
don't know what hypnosis looks like. Like, I'm done, I need to change this. And for me, that's enough because
Oh.
it's just a matter of giving them a couple of experiences, many experiences in hypnosis is more than enough to debunk everything that they thought they knew about hypnosis. It's really you're in charge, you're in full power. You don't want to listen to me, don't listen to me. You're in charge. So it quickly changes and shifts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still, my aim is for everyone to get a session at least once in the lifetime because it's.
Oh, well, you're convincing me to, so I'm just letting you know. I do have a quick question about that. Do you when you meet with people, do you do you go through their like what they think about hypnosis in the I mean, is that necessary to
This is
do?
I do a 30-minute consultation call, and in those
Okay.
30 minutes I answer all the questions and also learn
Okay.
if we are a good fit to work together, if it's more therapy that is needed than
Got it.
this kind of line. Is it going along with therapy or therapy is the way to go? So not every client that knocks the door I take through.
Got
It
it.
really is. I take successful cases and most of the cases are. And so I keep it in that space. I know what I'm capable of offering
Yeah.
to show that power, and I'm try to be consistent with accepting people who I sense they're ready and they're in that state because you want them to
Right.
benefit out of it. It's not wasting their time or mine. And
Absolutely. And I
yeah.
love the fact that you have confidence in yourself with that. You know, that you could say that's awesome because most individuals do not say it that humbly, by the way. I just want to point that out. So, yeah. So I appreciate that very much, that you know, that you recognize that, you know, it's a competency and a confidence thing, because it is a specialty training. It's not something that just anybody can kind of do. I mean, I definitely would not feel comfortable doing it, because I'm like, when I'm listening to you, I'm like, yeah, no, I'll just refer to you. I'll just do it that way.
Well, I'm certified to certify people to become certified hypnotists. If that's, I do run classes in that space because I believe it's also very helpful as an additional modality for anyone who works and sees others. So there's that also open.
Well, I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate everyone being on here. Thank you so much for spending your 30 or 35 minutes with us this evening. And yes, if you would like to, you know, reach out to Huda, her information is up there on the screen for you. And yes, thank you very
I
much.
enjoyed this very much. Thank you, Serena.
No, thank you.
Thank you,
I really
everyone.
appreciate it. Thank
Yeah.
you, everyone.
Thanks, Serena. Thanks,
Thank
Huda.
you.
Thank
You're
you.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.